Broadcasting from an undisclosed location under a farm pond somewhere in the Midwest. Your host is Jim Crowley. This is Slickfish Radio. Hey everybody, welcome back to another edition of Slickfish Radio. Glad you can all be joining in. Some of you are going to be chiming in here soon. I've got phones going off. I've got people clicking on. Always glad to have you, and thank you so much for joining us. We're going to have some fun tonight. We're going to talk ice fishing tonight, and Matt Johnson from Matt Johnson Outdoors, and he's also part of Clam and Blackfish. He is going to be our guest. But I've got a couple announcements to make here tonight, because if you see, there's some changes in the background here, and we want to welcome, as a new sponsor of the show, KastKing. So KastKing are going to be the official reels of not only Jim Crowley Outdoors and Wired to Fish TV, but also here on Slickfish Radio. So we are really happy to have KastKing join us, along with our other great sponsors, and we're going to be having some discount codes from them and some other stuff coming up later tonight. So I want to welcome KastKing, along with our great friends at American Tackle Company. They just won another award. I think that's 13 industry awards. I just found out today for a new handle assembly for rod builders. It's really cool stuff, and you'll be seeing some of that coming out in the new year. Heading back up to La Crosse, Wisconsin in a couple weeks to do some ice fishing, of course, filming for season 2 of Jim Crowley Outdoors, and looking really forward to that. I think we're going after some perch again. I don't care. Whenever I'm going to La Crosse, it's always fun. I don't care what we're fishing for. Just visited my friends over at Shields. And I got to tell you this, because I think this is important. Besides fishing and hunting and camping and all the stuff they do over there, I was looking for a new dartboard for my lodge area, my bass cave, whatever you want to call it. And hey, Genwan, just tell me, hi again, how you doing, buddy? And so I went to Shields and looked through their dartboards. One of their associates comes over, and he specializes in dartboards, both plastic and the old-fashioned type. Talked to me for about 20 minutes, set me up with everything. I used to be in a dart league years and years ago, but I didn't remember some of the stuff. He went through everything, set me up. Now I've got a great electronic dartboard in there. I'm telling you, if you want something for Christmas, go to Shields. No matter what it is, they have it in a great store. KastKing, hey, affordable innovation right there. You're going to be seeing some more video stuff coming out with us in the next couple of weeks from KastKing. There's just some great stuff out there. Plus, we'll be giving you a discount code later on in the show tonight. And as always, we are powered by Dakota Lithium. And thank goodness for them, because they were the first sponsor to hop on the show when we started this. This is actually a year. We got one more episode, I think, and we're going to be at the end of season 1 of Slickfish Radio. So I'm pretty excited about that. We made it through a year, and thanks to all of you, we continue to grow and grow and grow. We're also going to be doing a giveaway tonight. Some of you saw the social media blast. We have a new plastics that I helped with a little bit from Lure Parts Online. It's called Bass Academy. And so later on after the break, I'm going to give you a little contest that you can join us with later in the show, and you can have a chance to win a bag of those plastics from Bass Academy. So without further ado, I'm going to bring in Matt. Matt, how you doing, buddy?
What's up, guys? Hey, Jim, I'll tell you what, that intro was something else. I feel like I'm running on the field in football again, running out here to get going. That intro got me pumped up. Well done.
Well, thank you. We have fun with it, and I got to make that one myself. There was some help on the other video one, but putting that together, yeah, you get a couple spotted cows in you, and then you start designing. That's what you do. So hey, I'm just happy that you're awake and smiling, because my God, dude, you have been 24/7. I don't know for how long now, but you just got finished up with the St. Paul Ice Bowl, which is kind of like the Super Bowl of ice fishing, and it looked like it was flat out phenomenal. And Clam that's their show, man. So how was it?
Yeah, we're the presenting sponsor of that show. We have been for years. You nailed it. It is the Super Bowl of ice fishing. I don't know what the exact attendance numbers were, but it was busy. There was times throughout the show that we really couldn't even walk without bumping into people. I tell people, if you have a short fuse or a lack of patience, there's certain windows of time at this show you're going to want to avoid. But it was awesome. Everyone is sweet. We had people from Washington to Maine, up in provinces of Canada. We had anglers from Nebraska. Wow. It was absolutely crazy. But you nailed it. It's a labor of love. Yeah, we go hard, but that's just what you do. The ice fishing season, especially the selling season, is pretty small. I mean, we're not bass fishing 12 months long, right? We're going into ice mode and we're trying to sell in a matter of weeks. So it's all hands on deck. Get after it, have some fun.
Yeah, and you guys have such a great organization there as a team. I mean, I've been to the clam factory. First of all, it's neat. I mean, it's very neat. It's very organized there. And that one big room, we were up there last year, right before you guys were going to be doing a display for ice fishing. And tables are set up and class type situation and all the new stuff. The clam company has been around for a long time, but what you guys have brought to ice fishing and how you've expanded on that to make anglers not only more mobile, but more comfortable and safer on the ice. What are some of the newer things that are coming out this year that you can tell people about?
Yeah, we got all kinds of stuff. I mean, we already hit the ground running this season with some new fish traps. We really focus on an XT front, and what's that stands for is extra tall. So a lot of times in your fish trap, which is your flip over shelter, anglers are hitting the roof, they're hitting their heads, they're doing a number of different things. So you'll see a whole lineup of what's signified as XT, extra tall. You can walk in and out of a one-person fish house. My dad's not hitting the roof all the time, all that kind of stuff. Obviously, clothing is a big one. We really emphasize float suits, and we have a technology called Motion Float. And what that really does is it's like wearing a hoodie. You know, a lot of people would wear a float suit for many years, and it was super cumbersome, uncomfortable. You sacrificed mobility and comfort to have a float membrane. Well, now that's not the case with Motion Float. It's just like wearing a sweatshirt. Pretty cool stuff. Big into a lot of new rods and reels and tackle, accessories. I mean, we could go on and on with the newness factor. One thing we pushed that was kind of fun, you'd probably get a kick out of this, Jim, is we play on words a bit with a scene in camping. We call it clamping. Sure. And we have these insulated hub houses, right? You've seen them. Yeah. They pop up in 45 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
They're insulated. You can fish in them. We have insulated floors. And we set up a clamping scene, cots, TV, everything powered by a 100 amp lithium battery, right?
That's awesome.
And it was absolutely bonkers how many people were gravitating towards that scene, just having fun with showgoers and engaging in different ways. It's one thing to say, here's a rod, here's a lure, here's a new fish house, here's the new this. They know that about us, right? But when they walk into the booth and they see this really cool all weekend long camping scene, it was crazy. I did some TV segments and people were just inundating us with, that was awesome. I want to ice fish now because of the camping element on the ice, the experience. That's the idea about this show, is creating an experience for these 25,000+ people coming into the building. And hats off to the Clam team that put all this together. It's a team mentality. And I think we set the bar and it was our best one yet.
That's awesome. And what I like what you said right there, I think that's one of the biggest compliments somebody could get. Like, I know you write articles and I do too. When somebody says, I felt like I was there with you. And just like, I think that's the biggest compliment you can get. And just like what you said, when they come into the clamping area there and they go, oh, wow, maybe I want to ice fish. Dude, that's a win-win.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so nice to be, we're a social people anyway. And one of the things I really like about ice fishing is because it's so much fun and you can I've always said ice fishing is one of the best ways when it goes right that you can catch 100 fish a day.
Yeah.
And it can be a blast. You can have guys, like I said, we got a couple people just joining. Robert, hey, Jim Colba, hey guys, how you doing? And when people can get together like that and have fun and laugh and have a good time. One of my buddies that, Jeremiah Burrish from La Crosse up there, Jerry and I are filming a show last year and we're doubling on perch and we're trying to film this and we're just having a ball, laughing back and forth, catching doubles. And what's one great thing about ice fishing is you can get around with a bunch of guys, just like the whole Clam team, and you guys can go out and everybody can have fun about catching fish. And I think that is one thing that ice fishing does that some people may overlook, not us that have done it, but think about it. There's a real coming together aspect about ice fishing because you can do it with some, and you've been doing it for a long time. But did you experience that as a kid? Was that one of the things like that your dad or your grandpa or whatever came together and you're like, I want to continue doing this?
Yeah, it's funny how I got involved in fishing. I mean, we really don't come from what I would say a fishing family. My mom grew up on a resort, but left that resort at a young age. I never got to experience the resort. The family sold it off, whatever, but I just fell in love with it and got a chance to do it sparingly as a kid, as a young kid. And then that became just my passion. I studied it. I read every magazine. I would ride my bike to the library, rent the VHS tape, come back and watch it. I think I heard Al Linder's voice in my sleep.
Me too.
Ice Fishing Secrets so many times, and Doug Stange and all these guys and Dave Gens, and so I just became really obsessed. And it started off with really me and my dad. I have a brother, I have a sister, and neither one of them really loved to fish. I just had this strong addiction for it. My mom jokes that it really wasn't an addiction or an obsession. It was a possession. My mom used to always say that, and just how much I love to do it. Yeah. Every weeknight I'd get home, hammer down my studies, and it would be like, hey, Dad, we could get like an hour and a half if we quickly make it to the local lake before it's too dark to see, and we would do it. But I think you hit some really key points, Jim. Ice fishing is a very social sport, or can be.
Right.
When I go out fishing in my bass boat, you, me, maybe another person, maybe you can squeeze in a fourth. Great. That's pie in the sky, right? But when you ice fish, man, I get 100 people on the ice at times where we can hang out, we can cook some brats. You have a central meeting spot, you can walk around, a lot more room to do things. So yeah, it really brings people together, and there is something magical about it. You're fishing through a 6-inch hole, an 8-inch hole, whatever size, and it's very intimate. You're fighting the environment through an 8-inch hole. That's what you get to fish. I'm not fan casting a weed line. I'm not throwing a frog into every nook and cranny. I'm dropping a lure down a hole in the ice that big, and it comes down to a battle of wits between you and a fish. And you're right, when the fishing is on in the wintertime, I will catch way more through the ice than I will in the summertime. So it is cool. And then you have that complete control. It's you and a fish. You feel every movement, every head shake, every turn, every pulse of a bluegill, every stripping drag run of a pike. It is a special sport that, you nailed it, is meant to be shared, meant to be taught, meant to be socialized with buddies. And why not, right? You're outdoors, you're experiencing something fun, and why not share that with somebody else, especially if they're new to it? It's one thing for you and me to go out there and hammer on some fish. I love that too, don't get me wrong. But when I can bring somebody new to the sport, whether it's a kid or even somebody my age, that's like, I have neighbor buddies that are like, never done it. I'm like, you're first on my list. We're going to go do this. And that's one of the many beauties of this sport.
Yeah, I took my wife ice fishing for the first time a couple of years ago, and first drop in the hole, and she gets a bluegill. She's like, "Oh my goodness, this is so cool." Mm-hmm. She's like, and she's in the clam. She's in it. She's nice and warm. Everything's good. So right away, she's like, "Oh, this is fun." She goes, "Hopefully catch a couple fish." And I mean, it wasn't a minute. She had that spoon down there, and up comes a little jig down there, and up comes that bluegill. So it was fun, and we're gonna do that more again this winter. It's just great. And speaking about that, we're gonna take a break, and I want to come back, and I want you to give you've been doing this a long time, and are very well known for giving out your videos are great. We're going to get to a lot of stuff about Matt, where you can go and find out more about him, his videos, and all his tips on his YouTube channel, stuff with blackfish, stuff with clam, lot to this gentleman right here. But when I come back, I want to pick up some stuff on some hints on early ice for panfish, as well as maybe some stuff for walleyes. So we will be back in what Chuck Ruler used to say is like 2 and 2. Kind of like that. So we'll be back right after this.
Got it.
American Tackle is home to the award-winning microwave line control system. Rod blanks to reel seats, ferrules to finish, grips to guides. They're committed to the very best in rod building components. Find out more, americantackle.us. With fishing beyond your expectations, indoor and outdoor activities, a vast variety of places to eat, drink, and stay. Discover your next adventure between the bluffs. ExploreLaCrosse.com. Located in Springfield, Illinois' largest selection of sports and sportswear, hunting, fishing, specialty shops and services, a 65-foot Ferris wheel, 16,000-gallon saltwater aquarium, and industry-leading knowledgeable employees. You don't take chances at Shields, ever. Go to Shields.com. Achieving affordable innovation through novel concepts and in-house ingenious designs. KastKing cost-effective e-commerce practices directly market to consumers, cutting costs by 30% or more on average. Affordable innovation, superior quality. KastKing.com. Believing quality is measured by lifespan and harnessing their unique chemistry and engineering know-how. Dakota Lithium lasts 4 times longer, powering your passion with an 11-year warranty. Find out more, DakotaLithium.com.
Slick Fish Radio with Jim Crowley can be seen and heard on Roku, Fire TV, Spotify, Amazon Music, and iTunes.
There we go. Come here. Get in here. Yeah, nice fish right there. Hi, I'm Jim Crowley. Make sure you catch my show, Jim Crowley Outdoors, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, exclusively on Wired to Fish TV. Look for Jim Crowley Outdoors on Wired to Fish TV on free, ad-supported streaming TV, including Plex, that can be downloaded in the App Store at Apple TV, Roku, Samsung, and others.
Yeah, we're back with Matt Johnson. And I just had Steve Flynn just chimed in. He goes, "You can't call this work. It's too much fun." Steve, you're
Amen.
right. It is, it's work, but it's a blast. I love it. And Matt, glad you stayed. I'm always worried when we come back from the break. I'm like, is the guy actually still going to be there? So I'm glad you're here. And let's talk a little bit. Let's talk about early ice, because it's getting that way for us. You guys already have some, and it's going to be frozen over here in where I live in Central Illinois, but I'm going to be traveling north soon anyway. But for a lot of people around here fish for panfish, so it's bluegills and crappies. What are just some tips that you can give people on early ice besides being safe? What are some lure choices or things like that, or some techniques? Just tell them what you know.
Yeah, it really comes down to the body of water, honestly. I mean, it's an open-ended question. But early ice, I usually, I always look at lakes that I can access, spots I feel like I can catch fish at. So that might mean I sacrifice my favorite lake because, the ice might not be as good as I want yet. I may not be able to get to my A and B spot, whatever. So I might look at that. But then from there, I'm a pretty aggressive angler. I mean, I'm cutting a lot of holes. I'm looking for fish. I fish with spoons a lot for bluegills and crappies. I want them to eat it. I don't want to have to force feed them or finesse and dangle it. That has its place and time. Don't get me wrong. But early ice, a lot of these fish are looking to eat. They've had, a fall where they're bulking up. They know that this winter squeeze is coming, where their metabolisms are going to shut down. They're going to feel the pressure, literally, metaphorically, whatever. So they're still feeding pretty hard. They have not seen a lot of lures. They have not seen a lot of angling pressure. So early ice, I'm kind of moving around looking for some green weeds still. I will fish green weeds, Jim, until I can't. And if I can fish them all year, I absolutely will. It provides oxygen, forage, safe haven, comfort, all kinds of things. There's all these weeds that, in my opinion, in the winter get overlooked because everyone goes straight out to the basin. They go straight out to where they see another fish house. And having run a fishing league for 22 years, if you look at the guys and gals that compete well and place well, we kind of joke they're combat fishing beating the bank. They're relatively shallow. They're oftentimes under 10 feet of water. Some of your biggest fish are caught all ice season under 10 feet of water. So that would be a point of focus for people is, look at your shallow structure, look at your weeds. It's a closer walk from shore if we're limited and we can't drive out or take an ATV, right? Or a snow dog or whatever you're driving. You may have to walk. Right. So why not look for those spots closer to shore to chase your fish? And then from there, if you don't find fish, move. The ice is this thick at early ice, right?
Right.
3, 4, 5, 8 inches, whatever your early ice comfort zone is, meaning it doesn't take me as long to cut a hole. And the tools we have to cut holes nowadays in the ice are simple, quick, easy, effective, lightweight. Just like in your bass boat, I'm not going to make the same cast 275 times in a row to the exact same spot if I don't get bit. Right. You got to move on the ice too. So I would say that's important. Early ice is mobility. Be smart about how you attack a lake. Look at some lake maps. Plan a lake that might be a little more conducive for walking to your early ice spots, and then fish aggressive until the fish tell you can't.
And I agree. I haven't done it as long as you have, but when I'm looking like at a reservoir or even like a small pond or a small lake, you're looking at that shoreline covers. There's down trees in there after that ice is thick enough. Hey, I'm going to go out and I'm going to drill holes where I think that end of that tree is, because a lot of times those fish will be in the same places in the wintertime they are in the summertime.
Sure.
Right. Now, when it comes to a natural lake, it's going to be different, obviously. And that's one of the, before we transfer into that natural lake thing, because I want to ask you some questions about walleyes, then what would be like one of your choices or a couple of your choices for small spoons to be a little bit more aggressive when you're trying to find fish for perch or for bluegills or crappies?
You know, I live and die with that Pinhead Pro spoon from Clam.
Sure.
I mean, I've been using it for years. I don't fish it with bait. I've made a lot of believers out of people, including some professional ice anglers that really no bait. You're just trying to sell tackle. But then they fish that spoon and they fish it effectively and they catch fish truly without bait. And they go, I never would have thought that I needed to not tip that with a minnow head or a maggot or a Eurolarva or a waxworm, and I'm fishing it plain. But it comes down to keeping that bait moving. The number one thing an ice angler can do wrong, in my opinion, on your cadence, which is how you jig, is to stop whatever you're doing. So many anglers, they fish, they work a fish, it comes in on their flasher, and then they stop. And I would always tell you just to keep moving, even if it's a quiver, even if it's just a dance.
Yep.
Keep moving it. And with a spoon, I can do that. I can be quick. So that Pinhead Pro, it's new this year, made out of zinc alloy. The old one was made out of lead. It was dominant. The zinc alloy one, I'm telling you, is better. I got a chance to use it last year. Phenomenal spoon. And then I might use a small flutter spoon if I can. But you're going to have to pry that Pinhead Pro out of my hand. And this year, it comes in a 1/32 ounce.
And I was going to ask you that because you said zinc, that's a denser material. So that is going to help out more on forward-facing sonar.
Absolutely.
Or imaging like that, because you're going to be able to pick up that image a lot better on there. And I like that. Tungsten is the same way. It's a lot more dense. And so compared to lead stuff, one, they're smaller. And two, you're still going to be able to pick them up from a flasher all the way to live imaging and things like that. And 1/32 is a great, man, that's a great, I'm going to have to look at those. That's a great little size for perch and for bluegill for sure. I mean, that's awesome. Let's transfer a little bit over to natural lakes and say early ice again. And you're looking for like that picture I posted of you today, and a bunch of people commented that freaking monster of a looked like a semi truck with fins, that walleye that you had. One, how big was that? And when did you catch that thing? And then we'll get into that.
Yeah, I mean, that fish was, picture makes it look a little bigger than it is, but it was still a trophy fish, and caught with a spoon, relatively shallow water, 9-10 feet, mud transition, outside weed line. That fish is there to eat.
Right.
That's why they're there. And everyone always thinks with walleyes, I got to go out deep to the gravel, to the deep mud flats, to the rock humps. And yeah, absolutely, there's fish in those spots. But these big dogs are eating shallow. And I'm always setting up shallow on the ice. I always have a tip up shallow, something, because I've caught so many good quality fish, and let's say under 15 feet of water ice fishing, talking walleyes, that, you know, you can tell the savvy walleye veterans is that rogue fish trap up shallow. Even at Lake of the Woods, you'll see, you go past Pine Island and you'll see this little line of houses right there in 13, 14 feet of water. And then the masses are out on the flats. And because they're targeting that apex predator, trying to target that big fish. So that those fish are special creatures when they get to be that size. I don't care. I'm not a great walleye angler by any means, Jim. I'd be honest. Like, I don't live in the part of the ice belt where there's a ton of them here in the Twin Cities where I spend my time guiding. I'm fortunate enough to travel to Lake of the Woods, to Leech Lake, to fish some Great Lakes, to do some things like that. But I'll be honest. Usually when I catch a big fish, I just kind of get to the right place at the right time and get a little lucky.
Well, yeah, I always believed in the thing that if you're going to be lucky, and people's like, oh, well, it's luck. Well, you know what? If you put yourself in a position to be lucky, luck happens a lot more.
Sure.
You know, and one of the things I was thinking about is, especially since you're a guy too, and I'm sure it's happened to you, but because when you mentioned transition areas, smallmouth is my favorite fish. And smallmouth and walleyes a lot of times can be caught in the same places because they both hug transition areas. They both love those transitions, whether it be from rock to sand, weeds to rock, whatever. And so are there times when I'm sure there's times when you're doing that where all of a sudden you're like, hey, this doesn't feel like a walleye, and you're whacking some big smallmouth through the ice. That's got to be a lot of fun too.
Oh, I've done it many times. And I always tell my good buddies that walleye fish that if you're a good walleye angler, Jim, you can be a good smallmouth angler in the summer. But I mean, it's not always the opposite, though, right?
I'm example of that. No,
look at some of these walleye studs like a Corey Sprangle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who's going over to like the Sturgeon Bay Open and kicking butt of these, let's call they're professional bass anglers.
Sure.
So it's kind of funny you mentioned that because we do snag or just tie into a bunch of smallmouth at times fishing walleyes. They're wintering in some of the same spots, especially on expansive bodies of water like Chequamegon Bay,
sure.
Lake Superior. I've caught a few on Mille Lacs, not a ton. They're kind of a mythical creature in the wintertime, those smallmouth. But yeah, you know it. One of the first smallmouth I caught through the ice 20 years ago or more was in Chequamegon Bay, and the darn thing tried to jump, knocked itself out. And it was coming in like just twitching. I'm like, what do I have here? It's like not even fighting. Yeah. And it was a 21-inch smallmouth.
Oh my goodness.
And it tried to jump. I could tell because it made a sprint. Yeah. I lost all focus of it on my line, my Vexilar, everything was gone. And I could tell, I'm like, that fish jumped and it knocked itself out. And I reeled it up. I took a picture. Then it woke up and went ballistic. I let it go. It swam away like a bat out of you know what.
Yeah.
But the thing tried to jump. They are the most gnarly creature that swims in our fresh water, in my opinion, those smallmouth bass. And there's something to behold.
Trying to jump during the ice. That's trying to like watching a football game, getting excited at a bar, jumping up and hitting your head in a ceiling fan. It's not going to end well.
Just goes to show you that these fish are truly wild, right? They don't know. That fish has never been caught through the ice.
Right.
Never been caught. The last time that fish got caught was probably by a guy like you in the boat.
Yeah.
And it knows it can jump to throw the hook. Well, it got a rude awakening that day when it smoked the ice.
Him got a headache.
You can imagine how that felt.
Yeah. So and talking about the walleyes for a little bit there before we get into your information here. If somebody's going to new ice on a natural lake, you talked about transitions again. What is a couple of your baits that you like setup, like pound test line and the bait that you would use for early season walleye?
Yeah. One, it's a two-prong approach. You can fish 2 lines in Minnesota. Other states you can fish 3 more, right? We can fish 2 in Minnesota. So I'm always doing a set line. And oftentimes it's a tip up, and that's going to be at a different depth than I'm jigging. Cover water, knock out the variables, knock out the guesswork, and that's going to go up shallow. And then when I'm jigging, I'm going to work a break line, a deeper edge, see where these fish are moving in and out, and then I can play judgment game from there. But I'm usually fishing like a 5, maybe 6 pound test line. I'm a big monofilament guy. Okay. It's the most probably easy to work with in our conditions, right?
Sure.
Braided lines can freeze up. They're effective, but they can freeze up. Fluorocarbon's got memory. So I usually go with mono, maybe do a liter of some material. And then I'm a big spoon person, or I fish a Tikka minnow, which is like a jig and wrap type bait.
Right.
I fish that. I'm aggressive, just like I do for panfish. I'm covering water. I'm calling them in, and I'm letting my flasher tell me what these fish want me to do. This way or that way, aggressive, less aggressive, move, water column, whatever it might be. So I'm usually targeting them with like a medium action rod. I use a 1000 series type reel. I got my monofilament on there, and I'm getting after it. I'm a combat fisherman, Jim. I rarely go inside a fish house. I live in a pair of ice hammer bibs and a blackfish top. I sweat when I ice fish. It blows people's minds. I'm in better shape in the winter than I am in the summer.
Sure.
And it's not because I work out. I don't work out. I don't count my calories. I ice fish.
Right. Yeah. I mean, mobility is key. I don't care what anybody says. When you're ice fishing, mobility is key. And I liked one thing you said, and we're going a little bit longer, but I find this truly interesting. And I know our audience does too, that, you said with your Vexilar, one thing that I noticed is that you can still tell with all the forward facing sonar and everything, and all that has its place. But a
Mhm.
lot of us learned on flashers, and you
Yep.
can literally tell the mood of the fish by watching your flasher with no special settings, just tune it into what you feel comfortable with and watching how those blips on that screen react to where your bait is. It was possible to do that 20 years ago. It's still possible
Mhm.
to do it today. Now you can define it a little bit more with the settings on there, but still watching that blip sometimes to me is still, you can tell that mood of the fish just as much. You can see it and you can tune into what they're doing by concentrating on that. And I'm hoping, I can see by the shaking your head, that you feel the same way.
It's still the only true real-time sonar that exists.
There you go.
And I use all kinds of stuff. I got forward-facing sonar
Sure.
as well, this and that. But my Vexilar flasher, you're gonna have to pry from my hands. I even put one on the bow of my boat.
Yeah.
It is truly sonar. And when you get so good at it, and I have proven this to some of my buddies and clients, I can tell you if whether it's a bluegill or a crappie.
Right.
I can tell you what direction that fish is facing. I can tell
Wow.
you if I lose one of my two maggots. Those are things that other systems just can't show you. And like you said, it's my fish's mood indicator. It tells me everything I'm doing right or wrong by the reaction of the fish. And the more you stare at that unit, that
Mhm.
contraption, that big kid video game, the better you understand how these fish operate. And it's a very deadly tool. The Vexilar shows you everything you need. It's a whole lot of fun. And when you put it in front of a kid, I always joke, and it goes into that whole tackle boxes instead of X boxes,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But you put that electronics in front of them, whether it is a Vexilar or whether it is an underwater camera, whether it is whatever it might be, they gravitate towards that technology
Sure.
world they live in.
Yeah.
And it's a home run. It's a win-win scenario.
You know, and it was really interesting that you said that, because I've always said this in seminars about, if you want to become an angler, it's not always about products. Do you know what I asked one simple question, asked for a show of hands. Do you know exactly what your lure is doing on every single cast?
Mm-hmm.
If you don't, then you're not fishing, you're hoping for a bite, and you're wasting your time.
Yep.
When you said that right there about, I know if a maggot or two is missing, that is paying attention to your bait. That's not saying what color it is. If you guys who are listening tonight and who see this later on, remember what Matt just said right there. It goes back to the thing of being, I call it bait awareness, knowing what your lure does, knowing what it doesn't do, action and inaction of that lure, and knowing what it does. You will be able to tell more bites, less bites, whatever. But knowing what those lures are simply just tools to get a job done. He uses his ice fishing tools like some of you use tools for your daily job. Like I used bass fishing, same thing, whatever I'm fishing for. So knowing that bait awareness, knowing what it is, excellent point. Matt, before we let you go, we kept you a little bit longer, but
No
darn
problem.
glad to have you on the show. Tell people where they can find you, and there's a ton of stuff. So run down everything from Blackfish to clam, all your social media stuff that you thought he explained stuff good tonight. You've got to see some of his videos because they're very informative. Let him have it, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, you can find me, Matt Johnson Outdoors, on pretty much any platform, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. I'm on that stuff all the time. Love answering questions, helping you out. Otherwise, my full-time gig now, I guide about 125 to 150 days a year, 100 trips, I should say. And my full-time gig is to work for Clam Outdoors, Blackfish Gear, All Train Bass Jigs. I manage all the pro staff. A lot of stuff going on there. Jim's been a huge supporter of us. I can't thank him enough. Dude catches piles of fish, watch all his stuff myself. So you can follow us on any of that kind of stuff. If I'm not on my own personal stuff, I'm probably talking fishing at a clam or Blackfish event. I'm probably on one of their social media pages or helping out to that regard. And we got a lot of great guys and gals doing the same thing. So super cool. That's what we do, man. You nailed it to start the show. This is fun, right? We have fun at our jobs. What we truly do is we sell fun for a living, whether it's a product, whether it's an ideology, whether it's a way to catch fish. Our job is out there and have fun, make you smile. I'm not selling you insurance. I'm selling you how to catch a new fish, another bass or bluegill or whatever it might be.
And the cool thing is that was when I got to come up and visit the factory there at Blackfish and Clam. Everybody's the same way. Everybody fishes. Everybody's into everything that they do. When we had Thane on the show here earlier in the year, he was talking about that's why they called us Blackfish, because we were doing things that we were the Blackfish. I'm like, that's funny. And my family growing up, I go, no wonder this is a great fit. because I was a black sheep. So you know what? Blackfish, the whole thing, everything worked out really, really good. I'm proud to be a small part of working with you guys. Hey, we get up at Mille Lacs this year. I'm going to I told you thing too, give you guys a buzz. If one of you are available, got to come out and do a show with us for those smallies and just hoot, holler, and have a great time.
That'd be fun.
So, hey, I'm going to let you go, buddy. God bless you. Thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for all the great information. Make sure you guys go check out all the stuff on Matt Johnson Outdoors, as well as Clam and Blackfish, for two of the best companies in the industry today, providing quality, innovation, and flat out just getting after it. Matt, my friend, thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Jim.
What a great guy. Like I said, I am so proud to be part of the Blackfish family, and they're a big part of Jim Crowley Outdoors on Wired to Fish TV. So for those of you guys still, I want to say hi to my buddy Andy Wagner, Tony LaMarca. How you doing, guys? For those of you still here, let's do a thing if you want to do this. So if you want to win a free bag of Bass Academy plastics, go to Lure Parts Online. I'm going to tell you how to do this. This is going to be really easy. Go to lurepartsonline.com. Type in Turbo Tail Craw and tell me how many colors we got. That's all you got to do. Tell me how many colors we got. Pick a color. And if I pick your name, either now or after the show, I will have Lure Parts Online send you a free bag of the new Bass Academy plastics. So all you got to do is go to Lure Parts Online, type in Turbo Tail Craw, tell me how many colors we got, and tell me what color you would like. And if I pick your name, I'll send you a plastic. That's it. I'll send you a bag of plastic. Okay. Now we're going to give you guys some discount codes here. Our friends at American Tackle. If you're looking for Christmas presents, go to AmericanTackleAnglerProducts.com. All right. Type in the code JCO20. You get 20% off of anything on the site. If you share this with somebody, some high school or college anglers, I'll tell you this, American Tackle is looking for some pro staff. So if they're interested, fill out the pro staff form, because if you get picked, I am telling you, you will get some great discounts on a lot of great products. This is a business opportunity. Okay. This is part of a chance to become one of the biggest growing companies in the industry. They won their 13th award today in the outdoor industry, more than any other tackle company out there. Go to AmericanTackleAnglerProducts.com. Our friends at Cast King, the official reels of Slick Fish Radio, as well as Jim Crowley Outdoors. You put in a code JC52AFF. You get 20% off of everything and anything on their site. There's clothing, there's rods, there's reels, and some of the new reels that are coming out, which you're going to see featured on Jim Crowley Outdoors this year, are absolutely incredible. I have a reel that weighs 4.6 ounces. It's unbelievable, actually unbelievable. We got some comments coming in, and look at that. Andy Wagner said 8. He is correct. And Blue Craw. Well, Andy, I guess I'm going to have to send you a bag. All right. So Andy's our winner. That took 1 minute and 10 seconds. Thanks. You guys are the best. Always chiming in, and I sure appreciate it. So Andy is our winner. Andy, I'll contact you later, and we will get you your bag of Blue Craw Turbo Tails. All right. So that is that. All right. Hey, next week we got another special guest. We have a great giveaway next week. Tune in next week. You want to find out more about sunglasses, and you want to find out there's going to be a special announcement, just some really cool stuff. Share this with your friends if you can. Tell more people about Slick Fish Radio, because the more you tell, the more we grow. And as always, I appreciate all of you so much. I really, really do. Thank you for joining us. Make sure if you want to check us out after the show, I will be on social media, on Facebook, answering some things in case I didn't get to your questions now, but thank you for chiming in tonight. You want to find us after here, you can find us on YouTube. You can find us on our Slick Fish Radio channels on Roku, on Fire TV, on Amazon Music, iTunes, and Spotify. Thanks again to our great partners at American Tackle Company. Love you guys. Explore La Crosse. See you in a couple weeks when we're ice fishing up there. Our friends at Shields in Springfield, the best store on the planet, anywhere for everything. My friends at Cast King for the most innovative, affordable innovation in the industry today. Go to castking.com. And we are powered, as always, and continue to be, by my friends at Dakota Lithium. Check a couple more comments here. Again, one good show. Andy Wagner said, hi, Rhonda. That's great. All right, guys, I appreciate everything for it. We'll be back next week. Same time, same bad channel. God bless you. See you soon.